I have a friend and his wife who've recently started coming to Harris Creek, and I was talking with them, and I said, hey, I want you to be honest. Like, what do you see that I might not see? You know, what are the things that when you come into this place for the first time, you're kind of like, well, why do you guys do it that way? Or, hey, this was weird. This was kind of off. And I said, I want you to shoot me really straight. And they just started saying, hey, man, the people there are so friendly and so inviting, and we felt so welcomed. And I was like, oh, man, it fills your heart. You're like, that's good. And they were like, and the singing was incredible. It stirred our affections for Jesus. And I thought, that's what we just experienced. I thought, man, thank you. And they said, in the teaching there, it helped us understand God's word better than just places we've been and things we've experienced, to feel like we're really learning the Bible. And I was encouraged by that. And I said, but you got to shoot me straight. Like, I'm looking for the constructive criticism, the feedback. And he goes, I mean, surely you know about the saved seats. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, you go in there and there's like a jacket stretched across 3 chairs, and then a Bible, and then a journal. Then there's like a highlighter and a pen making an X, like don't sit here. They were like, we saw homemade reserved signs and saved seats and highlighters on brochures. And he goes, it doesn't make you feel very welcomed. And then, I'm embarrassed, and I'm like, oh man, but yes. Well, here's what happens is, our members get there, and, they want to sit with their family, and they're arriving at different times, and it's reasonable to want to sit with your family or your friends or your roommate. And so they save a seat, they go get coffee, they come back, and it's grown so much, and we've just experienced so much growth, and we're putting people everywhere we can. We've displaced the kids, and we put adults in overflow in the kids, and it's where the kids were, and then the kids are like in closets, and we're trying to figure it out, and we're trying to make sense of it all. And I know you guys, right? It's like you get here, and nobody wants church to be a source of anxiety. Like, this is a place you come in and you're just like, I'm so overwhelmed. And we sat in the traffic jam on 84 and backed up all the way past TF&B Bank, and it's like, what are we gonna do? And this is, and I know that I just want you to know that we know. And we here at Harris Creek exist to help everyone follow Jesus by engaging the lost, equipping the saints, and empowering members for service. And there's one major barrier, one barricade that is preventing us from fulfilling or living out our mission statement, and that's that there's no space. There's no room. Engage the lost all day long. I was yesterday on a walk with my wife, met a door-to-door person going door-to-door selling something, engaged him, talked about Jesus right then and there. He's like, man, I want to believe that. And I'm like, hey, come to church with us tomorrow, but just get there early. He's like, how early? I'm like, real early. He's like, why? I'm like, it's just busy. It's kind of off-putting to somebody that's coming for the first time. You're like, well, there's gonna be a lot of people there, and like, what should we do? And so I get it. Like, these are the problems that we're trying to solve. And so I want you to love your church. And I realize that for some of you, the crowds don't make you love your church. You might have a hard time finding your space here. I want you to know we love you. We see you. We're working on it. And before I tell you our plans, I'd love to just share with you some of the challenges that we're experiencing and the things that we've tried. And so I want you to watch this from our executive pastor, John Passavant.
Hey, Harris Creek family. Well, if you've been coming for any amount of time, you've seen, whether from the road or in the parking or once you come into the lobby in the kids area, there's a lot of people and not enough space. This isn't a new problem for our church. We have been blessed to see, and it truly an answer of prayer, to see so many people coming to this place to be discipled and to worship the Lord together with their family. The auditorium that we're sitting in now was finished in 2017, not that long ago. But as God has added to our number every single year, we've seen that growth escalate. We've had people going into overflow in the Commons since 2022. In the fall of 2023, we eventually did the easiest step, which was to add a 4 p.m. service. This just opened up 1,100 more seats for people to come in, and you as a body responded to that call. Even doing that wasn't enough. And so we used stage 2, which was the main place that the kids met, the kindergarten through 3rd grade, and they went out into their existing classrooms, and we used that space as overflow, which opened up 500 more seats per service. But now overflow is happening to that overflow back into the Commons. Whenever we displaced the children's ministry in stage 2 for overflow, it created a real problem where we needed to find space in other parts of the building for our kids to meet. And at the end of the day, we found a solution that could convert some of the classrooms in our current space while we continue to transition and grow as a church.
I show you that so that you understand that at every step of the way, we're trying to figure out, hey, what is the best stewardship? What can we do? Where can we save money? What walls can we move to accommodate more space? All while thinking of the discipleship opportunity for the kids that are coming. That's really important to us that we invest in them. And so questions you might have is like, well, why not plant churches? We are all about planting churches. And in fact, we bring residents here every single year. They were at our house last night. And we have them for 10 months, and then we send them around the country and around the world to go and do ministry. And so we want to continue to double down on our planting efforts. And we can plant a church in the Waco area even, but the problem is the growth is right here. You might be thinking, what about satellite campuses? Could we put a satellite campus downtown? You may not know we had one. We had a satellite campus that met in the Hippodrome for years. We could put a satellite campus in China Spring. We could put a satellite campus in McGregor. We could put a satellite campus in different parts of Waco. The issue is this is the biggest growth area of Waco. And in fact, if we were going to plant a church in the most strategic area to plant a church, it would be across the street. You know, it's like that. It's like, where's the growth happening? Where are the new subdivisions going in? Where are people moving to, right? It's here. And so we have to think, hey, how do we reach the people within a 2 to 5 mile radius around us? And the way that we think we can do that is we began to explore building. And we bought this land, secured this land across the street, for 48 acres. And we heard from you guys because we listened to you. Like when you say anything, when you send in an email, that email goes before the elders and we pray over those solutions. And a lot of times when you have a solution, I know the nature is to think like I'm this light bulb moment, like I'm the first one with this thought. And we really are trying to explore all of those all the way to the end. So we hired a firm and we began to look at what it would cost to build across the street, exactly what we need. And the price tag came back at about $90 million. That was after several value engineering processes, 90 million, which was a lot more than I expected, maybe more than what you expected. So then we said, you know what, we're gonna build a kids building. We'll add on a kids building here, and then we could take the children that we've displaced and we can kind of give them a great discipleship experience. That's a priority here. I believe we have a world-class kids ministry. They're not just daycare, they're learning the Bible. I believe we have a world-class youth ministry, over 350 students here every Sunday night. Like God is doing something. And so we thought, hey, what if we built this new building? And then doing that and looking at the cost, we realized we're still gonna be constrained in other places. So we're gonna spend a lot of money and it doesn't solve our problem. And so in that due diligence process, we realized we should build a new auditorium. What that does, when you build a new room to put everyone in here and everyone in stage 2 right now, and we go in that room, it frees up 2 other spaces. It frees up stage 2 where overflow is, and it frees up this room so that this room becomes our children's ministry, a children's ministry room, and then stage 2 becomes this world-class place for students and youth. And so constructing one building solves that issue. And so that's what we're gonna do. That's what we plan to do. And we hired a firm, Visioneering Studios. And so they've produced renderings Would you like to see them? Okay, let's check it out. Okay, there is your new Harris Creek. This is Stage Line Drive. This is the sign welcoming you. Here is the yard with the new baptistry. This is the new auditorium. You'll see it says follow Jesus on the roof. For all of those pilots landing at McGregor Airport, they'll get saved. This is the current auditorium that you're in right now. This is stage 2, where overflow is right now. This building, it may look a little bit different to you with these windows here. This is actually an indoor playscape for our kids, because this will become our new kids area. And this is the new entryway coming in from over here. And so go to the next one. This is that entryway. So it actually faces the highway. And so we have a front-facing church building, if you will, so that the parking will be across the street on the land that we've recently purchased. That may feel far to you. It's actually closer than the gravel lot right now. And so plenty of parking over there to meet all the needs, so you don't have to rush off afterwards. This is the current entryway that maybe some of you came in today, which is behind the church. And so this would be a secondary entry with close parking in the back of the church. This is inside. This is the new commons with the kids area right in front of us. Plenty of space for you to hang out and linger. And then this is your new kids check-in area. You've got the iPads and whatnot here and new space. It's actually the existing commons. Bum, 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 bum. Here it is. Just the flyover you just saw. Follow Jesus on the roof. Okay, we're walking alongside the kids' indoor playscape with the baptistry right in front of us now. Walking alongside the baptistry, there's Nate, I think. Outdoor space here. We're coming up on the new entryway for the church, front-facing, highway-facing. Moving inside, baptistry there to your right. Inside this lobby. Kids area over here, check in. That actually looks like a coffee shop. I've heard rumors. Serve the community. From another angle. Place to hang out, community. And then this is the kids area, check-in area. So as you come in, really clear instruction of where to go. You'll know exactly what to do. Check-in area, plenty of iPads. Do that effectively. Just a playground right in front of us. Gonna pan out one more time just to show you this kind of kids space. And then I'm excited for you to see where you would be sitting right now. So roughly 3,000 seats with a second floor there in the balcony. If you've ever been to Austin City Limits Live, it's modeled after that. It's very close and intimate, though large. So everyone is in close proximity to the stage. Pretty awesome, huh? So we'll talk through the numbers. The new auditorium, the structure that we believe we should build, is $21 million, okay? So huge number, and yet still 1/4 of starting over, less than 1/4 of starting over. The renovations, indoor and outdoor renovations to this space in stage 2 would then be an additional $8 million. We'll call that phase 2 of the project. And so what we want you to know is we don't have $30 million in transparency. We have about $3 million that we've saved up through your generosity of giving to the Future Growth Fund, And so this is where this all comes into play. If you're a guest with us today, welcome. You get to sit in on kind of a family meeting. You're like, I only visit church when they're asking for money. Welcome. If you're watching from home, I'm so glad you are. I mean, there's a lot of people that provide resources for you to be able to listen to from home, and we're not afraid or concerned about inviting you to be a part of what God is doing here, even from afar. And so it seems that we like saving seats, okay? So I'd like to invite you to save a seat. If we take that $21 million that it's going to cost to build a new auditorium, and we break it down from about a per seat basis, it's about $7,000 per seat, okay? And so as you hear that, you might think, oh, they want us to purchase our seat. No, of course not. Your seat is secured. You're a part of the family. We want you to save a seat for your non-believing neighbor. We want you to save a seat for the person that you work with that's far from Jesus. We want you to save a seat for that family member that you've given up on. You stopped praying for because you thought God's never going to save them, and yet one day they're going to participate and be members of this church and grow in their faith here. And some of you are thinking, well, I don't have $7,000. And some of you are already thinking, well, I can buy a whole row at $70,000. And I just want you to stop. Because all I want you to do, and this is my only ask of you, and when I say you, I mean you. And if you're in college, I want you to hear you. If you're in high school, I want you to hear you. If you're in junior high, I want you to hear you. Okay, my only ask, here it is. And you've got to decide right now if you're going to do this, but this is the ask today. That you would pray and ask God, what would you have me do, and do everything he asked you to do. Now, that's not a manipulation tactic. That's not me saying that because I believe that, you're gonna feel guilty and do something irresponsible. Absolutely not. What it is I believe that God speaks to us, and I don't think we ask him enough, okay? Some of you never even heard him, all right? So I want you to create time and space with your family and say, what is it that we are to do? What should we do? And I hope there are, 13-year-olds in the room right now that are thinking about lemonade stands and snow cone stands and doing whatever they can to contribute. And I hope there's others of us in the room right now that are thinking we're gonna sell our lake house. Because the ask is this, that as you pray and seek the Lord, that each of us would give sacrificially. That's the word, sacrificially. And there's gonna be single moms here that go without something to give to this, and I know the weight of that as I put that in front of you. And then there's some of you that to give sacrificially where you feel it, that's really difficult. And so if you can give $7,000, awesome. If you can give $250 a month for 28 months, which would provide a seat, awesome. If you can give $70,000, that's amazing. If you can give $700,000, great. If you can give $7 million, it's incredible. Like some of you can, and that's incredible. And you've never even, you're like, I would never do that, and you should. And I'm not saying that out of my own bias. I heard a story immediately this week of someone who reserved a truck in April, and they've been waiting, and I know they've been waiting for this, to get this truck. Well, lo and behold, it's this week that they got the notification, hey, your truck is ready, it can be delivered, you just have to pay for it. And they said, you know what, we're gonna take all of that and we're gonna give it towards the building. And some of you are in college and you're like, well, why would I give toward a building that I'm not gonna enjoy myself after 3 years? Search your heart on that, is what I would say. Your university is gonna ask you as an alumni to contribute to those who are future or educated. We often give to Haiti, we give to Burundi as a family, places that we haven't been or don't know well, or we don't live, I should say, because we believe in the work that God is doing there. And so that's why I just want you to ask the Lord, what is faithfulness for us? What would you have me do? And then here you go. If the Lord has given you a lot of resources, my hunch, it's because you're probably a pretty good, probably a savvy investor. You like to invest where there's growth. You like to invest where things are happening. And so here's why I can say confidently, you're not gonna regret it. That I think that this is one of the most strategic investments that you can possibly make right here. And I'll just show you some of what's happening. Let's just say you do care about growth. In 2018, we had 600 adults and 200 kids per Sunday. Today, it's over 3,000 adults and 550 kids. In the last year, our Sunday attendance has grown 9%. That's about 9% year over year over year. And we've had 34,000 people sit in overflow in the past 2 years. We've sent, say you care about missions, we've sent 305 people overseas in the last 3 years, and then this month we will have sent 6 missionaries to live among the unreached people groups, that's indefinitely, and 3 more in 2026. If we're talking about global reach, the strategy there has changed with the invention of technology, and some of us, we're learning that. We've had 3 million views on Instagram in the last 3 months. Becoming Something podcast, which is recorded right on the other side of that exit sign, it's had over 40 million listens. That feels like a made-up number. 40 million listens. Our Pando prison ministry, which is really fun, they're watching right now, 361 views, but this one, 208 people have trusted Christ in prison since April. That's where you guys go nuts. 350 students here every Sunday. So listen, as you're giving to this place, thank you. Like, we don't sell a product. We don't make money. Like, this is the members of the body who contribute to the ministry that happens here. That we have central air and heat, a seat for you to sit in, an amazing LED wall behind me. All of those decisions, none of them are flippant. All of them are prayed over, and that's not going away. When I say prayed over, I'm talking fasting, praying, seeking the Lord. And for those of you that contribute in this way, thank you. And what I'm asking you for today is above and beyond your tithe. This is Acts 2 kind of stuff. This is those, they sold their possessions and their property, and they provided the resources, laid it at the apostles' feet, and the needs among them were met. This is a 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 9 and 10, that every person should give what they have determined before the Lord, them and the Lord, what they should do, because God loves a cheerful giver, right? And as they do that, he comes behind and meets all of their needs in an abundance. And so this is where, like, the ask of you is that you would get with the Lord and you would ask him what he wants you to do, not under compulsion is the other part of that verse. And so there's a rock under your seat. This is your commitment. And so before you leave, if you would commit to pray and provide as the Lord calls you to, I just want you to drop this rock in that display in the back as you leave, and grab this keychain. I think I have one. Yeah, this keychain. Pick up this keychain, put it on your keys. It has Psalm 127:1 on it, and just pray that. That's, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. So that if you will, if you say, hey, I will pray and provide as the Lord calls me to, that's my agreement. I'm gonna drop that in there. And so we're taking this week as a church to pray and do that. If you'll do that, grab that keychain, drop your rock off, grab that keychain. We're gonna look at the commitments of the church, the people in the body who said they're going to do that. Fathers, this week, you wanna gather your family at some point and lead out and say, hey, this is what we think we're going to do. Mothers, single moms, gather your children, say, hey, this is what we think we're going to do. Some of us may cancel Netflix, we may cancel Amazon Prime, those kinds of things. This is the moment. It does kind of feel like a once in a lifetime. It is one of those things that you're gonna drive by and look at, and once it's built, it's done. You know, it is that, you know, you'll be able to say, hey, I contributed to that. I was a part of building that. And I think unity here is vital. Like, in these campaigns, these are when people who have felt uncomfortable say, hey, I'm out. I don't want to go. Hey, what about, why didn't they? I get it. We're here for questions. You don't have to leave disgruntled. You don't have to leave frustrated. And I want to tell you what's going to happen. If you give up Netflix and you give, you know, $250 a month, or a gift of $700 or $7,000 or $700,000. I want to tell you what we're going to do for those who give a check of $7 million, okay? It's important that you know and understand this. If somebody today will give a check of $7 million, here's what we're going to do for them. Nothing. Okay? I'm not even going to know about it. You won't get a handwritten thank you note from me, because I don't want to steal that reward that you get to enjoy forever and ever and ever and ever and ever before the King, okay? And he's gonna give you everything you want. And every single person at some point in their life has to hear the deafening sound of a push of a button or the drop of a check as it leaps back and forth, and there's no one there to celebrate, and there's no streamers, there's no name on the building, there's no name on the back of the seat. We're not naming a wing after you. No, it's just you between the Lord. That's why I want you to decide before the Lord what you should do. And I don't want you to do anything that he's not asking you to do. I really sincerely don't. And listen, if somebody could right now come up afterwards and say, you know what, we'll underwrite the whole thing. We got it covered. Even the renovations, $30 million, we got it. And let's say half of you gave. I would much rather all of you, 100% participation. Every single person who hears me gives something. Somebody drops 50 cents in the back wall, right? Every person gives, and we come up short. If I have to choose, I would take that all day long, because this is about our hearts. Like, the cattle on 1,000 hills belong to the Lord. The money's already here. Like, I get that. If somebody said, does Harris Creek have 30 million? I say, absolutely we do. It's just in the wrong bank accounts, right? You know, the money, it's all God's. I get it. Like, God doesn't have a money problem. He just doesn't, okay? So we have to ask him. And listen, this is what I want to say. And I just don't want to come across manipulative when I say it, but I believe it. It may be the greatest act of faith you've ever done in your entire life. That moment where it's just you between the Lord and he asks you to do something that really stretches you, it may be the greatest act of faith that you get nothing for here under the sun. Nobody even knows. Okay, so just do what he asks you to do. If you're willing to ask him, just drop your rock off as you leave, pick up a keychain. You can tap that HC logo in front of you with your phone, and it's gonna take you to a page that's probably gonna be much more clear than what I just shared with you. It may have questions, answers to questions that I didn't answer. It has a FAQ there, and so, would you just pray this week? And then I would just say here, hey, the winds are changing. There's a new chapter. There's something fresh in the wind today, and the gospel's bearing fruit. And so Harris Creek isn't building, God is building. As God builds his kingdom, as his kingdom is expanding, like, that's what's happening. If you're asking the question, well, how big is too big and how big is big enough? Does anybody ask? I grew up in a church of 150 people. Listen, we all have our preferences based on our experiences. But when Jesus preached, thousands and thousands and thousands gathered. We see this in Acts. And so we want to be as big as we need to be to reach the area that God has entrusted to us, okay? All right, would you guys watch this?
So, I've been in Waco and Harris Creek about 4 months. I run into an old friend I hadn't seen in 30 years. She's like, what are you doing in Waco? I was like, we moved here. I'm a pastor now at Harris Creek. And she's like, you're kidding. We love Harris Creek. We love how authentic and vulnerable you all are about your lives and need for Christ and the sin that you're still wrestling with. And I was like, that's amazing. So which service do you go to? She goes, oh, we'll never go to Harris Creek. And my heart sank. I was like, why? She goes, well, I'm not gonna come and stand in the back of some overflow room. No, we'll never go. We go to some place where there's gonna be room for us.
I'm blessed enough to serve on the parking team here at Harris Creek, and it's really a blessing just to be the first smile that people may see or the first person at this whole church that they may meet. But it also leads to me seeing a lot of frustration and confusion on people just because of the chaos that it can be and how often that we run out of parking spots.
5 years ago when I came to Harris Creek, I was lonely, ashamed, and broken. And since then, God has used this space and its people to bring me belonging and freedom.
Easter Sunday, we were out talking to folks that were in a long line of cars, having the hard conversation that we didn't have a physical spot for you in the building. I'll never forget that young couple looking at them and having to tell them that we were full.
Our family used to be members here at Harris Creek, but we started running into some anxiety of not knowing where we were going to be able to sit when we'd come to a Sunday morning service. And so that anxiety kind of built up to where it challenged us to maybe look at a different option for our family. It's not lost on me that it's definitely a me problem, and God has challenged us to reconsider that and to think about that. But it is one of the challenges that we faced every Sunday, and it ultimately led us to look for a different church in our community.
I work for a nonprofit in town called Together for Good. We serve isolated families here in our community who are facing a crisis or they're living in chronic stress. So our volunteers at Harris Creek are often inviting those families to our church. Imagine a parent who, again, doesn't have a strong faith community or a strong social support network, walks into this building not knowing anyone, but they know that those volunteers intentionally saved a seat for them.
I want to save a seat for someone like that.
Let's save a seat for that couple.
So let's save a seat for people like me.
So let's save a seat for parents like that.
So, here's what I'm asking, is that we would save a seat for my 2 friends, for your 2 friends, for anybody in Central Texas, that they would always have a place here. Church, let's save a seat.